You've probably seen ads for retirement tools promising to fix your future, but here's the truth. Most of them either give you generic advice or lock you into oversimplified plans. What if one of them could actually show you the hidden risks in your retirement plan before it's too late? I tested Boldin, Empower, and Projection Lab, and one of them uncovered something I never saw coming. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know which tool gives you the edge, and why it might be the smartest move for your financial future. But before I trusted any of these retirement planning softwares with even a basic scenario from my retirement plan, I did what most of us do. I started reading the reviews. And not just the ones with perfect scores and shiny headlines. I went straight for the complaints. Because if something is going to make you question a tool later, if it's going to trip you up when you need it most, the cracks usually show up in the one-star review section first. When I was first exploring Boldin, I came across someone who said the platform was powerful, but not exactly plug and play. He hadn't done the pro review yet, but pointed out that juggling multiple scenarios took some effort, especially since changing one plan meant having to manually update all the other ones. I've definitely been there. I ran 6 retirement scenarios myself, and yeah, the learning curve is real, but once you get used to how the system works, the flexibility is incredible. On the flip side too, I saw plenty of users who had the exact opposite experience with this retirement planning tool. One guy said he'd built dozens of spreadsheet models himself, and Boldin was the first tool that made him ditch Excel. He liked how easy it was to model tax strategies, real estate, social security, even Monte Carlo simulations. Another reviewer said after using Fidelity's free planner for years that Boldin's extra optimization options made it worth paying for. That's not something people say lightly. Now, with Empower, the feedback was perhaps a little more mixed. One user said it's a good app for planning retirement, but it's not without its flaws. He had issues with the transfer funds tool, the mobile interface felt clunky to him, and some features like the daily outlook or roadmap alerts didn't work quite right. And honestly, I actually ran into some of that too. On my phone, the interface felt a little tight and laggy when switching between dashboards. But honestly, how many people are building a retirement plan from their phone? On desktop, Empower ran really smoothly, and that's what really counts for serious planning. Plus, I've seen updates roll out since then, so maybe it's better now. And if you're wondering whether that bug-filled experience is common, or whether or not there's so many bugs that everyone's mentioning it, no, I actually combed through the Empower feedback section, and that type of complaint was definitely in the minority. In fact, one reviewer said he finally stopped tracking his finances in spreadsheets because of Empower. He was able to link all of his bank accounts and credit cards and get a live snapshot of his financial health. That's something even paid online retirement planning tools don't always get right. Now, onto Projection Lab. One reviewer said that while the retirement planning software was thoughtful and packed with features, there were just too many parameters, and it made the predictions feel a little shaky. This one made me pause too, because when a retirement and financial planning platform tries to be, ultra detailed, it can definitely feel overwhelming at first. But here's what I found. Projection Lab is designed for people who want that absolute control. It's not trying to dumb things down or hide assumptions. You set your cash flow priorities. You tell it how to handle your income, savings, taxes, even how to order your expenses. If you're not ready to go that deep and deeper, sure, it might feel like it's too much. But if you are, this thing is a powerhouse. And again, that review wasn't the full story. But another user who had been using Projection Lab for over 2 years said it gave him the clearest picture of his financial future out of any tool he'd ever used. That kind of confidence doesn't come from surface-level charts. It comes from a tool that lets you stress test your future in real, flexible ways. Now, let's talk about what really sets these 3 best retirement planning tools apart, and what they can actually help you do. Let's start with Boldin. One of the newest features I tested was their financial wellness snapshot. Basically, it scores you on a bunch of different financial categories, retirement readiness, savings, debt levels, and a bunch more. It's kind of like a credit score, but for your whole financial life. And to be honest, it hit me with a lower score than I actually expected. But that was the wake-up call I needed, because from there, I could see exactly where the gaps were and run plans to improve it and fill them in. Boldin also added a tool specifically for inherited IRAs. Most people don't realize how tricky those can be. Depending on the situation, there are huge tax implications. With this feature, I could model different withdrawal strategies. I could understand all of my options and see how they'd affect my future plans. Then there's the Roth Conversion Explorer. I didn't even know how much control I had over timing my tax payments until I used this tool. It shows you when and how to move money from tax-deferred accounts to Roth IRAs in a way that minimizes your total tax burden. This was one of those features I didn't know I needed until I saw how much money it could save me over time. Another one I liked was the new Retirement Withdrawals Report. It lays out, year by year, how your different accounts will be tapped to fund your retirement. So I could see when my 401k would kick in, how my Roth withdrawals would line up, and where there might be a shortfall. No more guessing. Now, Empower's features are less flashy, but surprisingly useful. I found the cash flow graph super helpful. It pulls together income and expenses from every connected account and lets you see the patterns that you'd probably otherwise miss. I used to find some recurring charges I'd forgotten about and tweak my monthly spending when I used it. The budgeting widget was another simple win. You can't set goals yet, but it's great for spotting which categories are eating up your money. I'd log in and I'd immediately see where the leaks were that, I was losing money on. Projection Lab, though, is actually a whole different beast, and I want to get to that. One of the first features I tested was modeling a defined benefit pension. Not many tools let you do this in detail, but Projection Lab did. I could input my expected monthly payout, start date, and build that into my retirement scenario seamlessly. The cash flow priorities feature is where it really gets smart too. I told the platform to prioritize building an emergency fund, then max out my Roth, then pay down debt. So it automatically built those into my plan and adjusted future projection based on that hierarchy. It's like one of those few tools that actually lets you think like a real person managing multiple goals. Now, of course, no tool is perfect, and each of these retirement planning tools has a few trade-offs. With Boldin, the depth of features means it takes a little time to learn. But for me, once I got the hang of it, that complexity turned into confidence. Empower's mobile experience isn't great. Usable, but it can be clunky. Some features just work better on desktop. That said, I do most of my serious financial work on a computer anyway, so it hasn't really held me personally back. And Projection Lab, it's intense. You need to be ready to invest some time and brain power into this. But trust me, this tool is worth every minute. Now, if you're wondering what these retirement financial planning tools cost, I'm here to tell you that none of them is overpriced, but they're also not all free. Each of these retirement tools falls into a different range depending on how much access and flexibility you want. Check the links in the description to see their current pricing for each. We'll try to keep them updated with any promos they're offering. So, if you're serious about retiring smarter, these are the best retirement planning tools that I've tested. Boldin is ideal if you want powerful tax planning and scenario testing. Empower is a great choice if you want simplicity and big picture insight. And Projection Lab? It's for the planners who want full control, even down to cash flow sequencing. Check the link in the description of this video to get started with our special discount and coupon.